So picture this. You're standing entirely alone on a windswept hill.
Okay.
The sky is dark, the wind is howling, and you are bracing yourself against an incoming attack.
Right, setting the scene.
Exactly. You've got your shield raised, your feet are planted, and you are basically holding the line all by yourself. And I mean, it's a very brave image, like it's highly cinematic.
Oh, absolutely. It belongs on a movie poster.
Yeah. And when we think about the armor of God, and specifically, the shield of faith, that lone heroic warrior is usually the exact picture that pops into our heads.
It is. But historically, and honestly spiritually, it was a death sentence.
Wait, a death sentence?
Yeah, I mean, the people living in the first century, the original audience for this concept, they would never have pictured a solitary warrior. In Roman warfare, if you were fighting alone on the battlefield, you were already dead.
Wow.
Because isolation meant complete exposure.
Well, that completely flips the script.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're doing today. We are taking a deep dive into Dev Raghu's book, Armed with Grace.
Such a good one.
It really is. And our mission today is to basically tear down that lone wolf image and look at what the shield of faith was actually designed to be.
Right.
Because it's not this personal, isolated bubble of positive thinking, but a massive communal defense system.
Yeah, and to understand how that communal defense works, we really have to look at the mechanics of the shield itself.
Okay, let's get into it.
So Ephesians 6.16
Right.
famously mentions taking up the shield of faith to extinguish flaming arrows.
Right.
But we tend to imagine like a small round buckler, something you just strap to your forearm and casually swat away arrows with.
Oh, totally. Like Captain America, right. A piece of metal you can just easily swing around.
Exactly. But the Greek word used there is therios, which refers to the Roman scutum. And this wasn't a frisbee. This was a massive door-shaped wall of defense.
Door-shaped wall.
Yeah. We are talking about a shield that was 4 feet tall and 2.5 feet wide.
Oh my gosh, that's huge.
Right. It was constructed from thick layers of wood, bound with iron, and then completely covered in heavy leather.
Leather. I wouldn't have guessed that.
The materials are actually a crucial detail, especially the leather. Because before a battle, Roman soldiers didn't just, polish their shields. They submerged them in water.
Wait, really? They soaked them?
Yeah. They would intentionally soak that thick leather covering until it was completely waterlogged.
Wow. I guess because an enemy wasn't just shooting regular arrows, right?
Exactly. They were shooting flaming arrows.
Which, from what I understand, were often these hollowed-out reeds filled with pitch and oil, right? Designed to basically shatter on impact and splash burning liquid everywhere.
Yeah. The goal wasn't just to pierce armor. It was to cause sheer panic.
Oh, I bet.
But when those fire arrows hit a heavy, water-soaked leather shield, the wet surface would instantly extinguish the flame. It completely stopped the fire from spreading.
That is brilliant.
It stopped all the fire, and that is the promise in the text, extinguishing all the flaming arrows of the evil one.
Man, that's powerful.
But this brings us to the core of what that shield actually represents, which is faith. And we kind of have to untangle our modern definition of faith from what it meant historically.
Yeah, because we treat faith like an emotional state.
We really do.
We think it's this internal hype, like a feeling of absolute certainty or just the complete absence of doubt.
Right. And if we feel anxious, we assume our faith is just broken.
Yeah, we treat it like a mood ring. If the mood ring is glowing bright blue, our faith is strong. If it's dark, we're failing. But biblical faith isn't an emotion, is it? It's a decision.
It's entirely a decision.
It is a fixed trust anchored entirely in God's character, not in the fluctuating conditions of our lives or our current emotional state.
Exactly. It is active trust. But let's bring this into the reality of a battle. A massive 4-foot wooden shield, completely waterlogged, is incredibly heavy.
Right, and this is exactly what I was thinking about. It's so easy to talk about active trust when things are going well. But what happens when you just don't feel it? Like, what happens when you are so exhausted by a crisis or by chronic anxiety or a crumbling marriage that your hands are literally shaking?
Yeah.
Does having a weak, terrified moment mean you've dropped your shield?
It doesn't. And that is such an important point. Your faith does not need to be flawless, and it does not need to be fearless. It just needs to be placed in the right hands.
That's a relief to hear.
There is a deeply raw moment in the source material where the author actually walks through a severe financial crisis.
Yeah, I remember this part.
He was looking at a gap between what he had and what he needed, and the numbers simply did not work. There was no visible solution at all.
The way he describes that night is so visceral. He's sitting at his kitchen table late at night, the house is completely quiet, and he's just staring at these figures.
Right.
And suddenly, the flaming arrows start raining down. But they aren't arrows of fire, obviously. They are arrows of shame. Just these thoughts whispering, you've completely failed your family, God has forgotten you, your faith doesn't work in the real world.
And every single one of those arrows was designed to spark panic.
Exactly.
But in that incredibly dark season, he didn't suddenly feel this rush of triumphant emotion. He didn't stand up and shout a victory cry.
Right, there was no cinematic swelling of music.
No, not at all. He simply picked up his shield wearily, honestly, with shaking hands. He sat at that table, looked at the impossible numbers, and chose to trust God's character anyway, even while he was terrified.
God accepts trembling faith. I mean, that is such a profound relief.
It really is.
Because a small, trembling faith and a massively faithful God will always outperform a confident, arrogant faith in yourself.
Wow, yes.
The structural integrity of the shield doesn't come from your grip strength. It comes from the object of your faith.
That's perfectly said. But we do have to address the physical reality of what you just mentioned.
Okay.
A shaking hand can only hold up a heavy, waterlogged shield for so long. Eventually, muscle fatigue sets in.
Yeah, nobody has endless stamina.
Exactly. If you are standing alone on that hill, no matter how deep your trust is, your arms will eventually give out from sheer exhaustion.
Which is exactly why the Romans didn't fight as individuals.
Right.
They fought in formation. They used a tactic called the testudo, or the tortoise.
Such a brilliant strategy.
It's amazing. When the barrage of arrows began, the soldiers would close ranks. They stood shoulder to shoulder. The men in the front locked their shields together to form a wall.
Yeah.
The men on the sides protected the flanks. And the men in the middle raised their shields perfectly flat over their heads.
They created a human tank.
Exactly.
It was a nearly impenetrable, interlocking shell of wood, iron, and wet leather. And the absolute brilliance of the testudo formation was that the structural integrity of the wall didn't depend on any single soldier's individual arm strength.
Because they overlapped, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The edges of the shields overlapped and rested against one another. They carried the weight together. The arrows just bounced off.
So, if the ultimate defense is an interlocking wall, then the enemy's ultimate strategy completely shifts.
Yes, it has to.
The goal of the enemy isn't necessarily to overpower you directly anymore. The primary tactic is isolation.
That's the key right there.
If he can get you to step out of the formation, to step away from the people holding the line with you, you become an easy target.
Isolation is the prerequisite for destruction.
Yeah.
And the enemy uses highly specific tools to wedge believers out of formation. Shame, discouragement, fear, and pride.
Yeah, it's rarely some massive, dramatic exit, is it?
No, almost never. It happens in subtle, quiet retreats. We start isolating emotionally, then relationally, and finally spiritually.
There is a story in the text about a couple, Tom and Sarah, that illustrates this perfectly.
Oh, that story is heartbreaking.
It really is. Because from the outside, they were the model Christian family. They served at their church, they led studies, they seemed to have it all together.
Right, the people you'd never worry about.
Exactly. But slowly, this invisible wedge drove them apart. And it wasn't a sudden explosion, it was just quiet.
Yeah.
Tom started confiding his actual stress to a coworker instead of his wife. Sarah started venting her frustrations to her friends instead of bringing them to Tom.
They were building emotional bridges to the wrong people.
Right.
They stopped interlocking their shields with each other. They kept up the outward routine, but internally, they'd completely withdrawn into their own separate silos.
It's so sad.
They ended up living as total strangers under the exact same roof, both feeling profoundly alone while sleeping inches away from each other.
It's terrifying because it's so incredibly common. We do this with our spouses, our friends, our communities.
I really do.
There's another story about a men's small group that perfectly captures the psychology of this. Picture 4 guys sitting in a circle, coffee going cold.
Every church has this group.
Every single one. And every week, they give the same safe, sanitized answers. Work is busy, family is good, God is good. But one week, the pressure just gets to be too much for one of the men. He finally cracks, he takes a breath, his voice shakes, and he admits that for 3 years he has been suffering from crippling secret panic attacks.
Think about the immense shame he must have felt in that moment of silence right after he spoke.
Oh, it must have been agonizing.
The sheer fear that he had just ruined his reputation, that these men would look at him differently, that he was uniquely broken.
But instead of judgment, the guy across from him just exhales and says, "Me too."
Wow.
And then the third man nods, and then the fourth.
Unbelievable.
Every single man in that small group had been silently suffering from the exact same anxiety, and every single one of them was utterly convinced they were the only one.
That reveals the profound psychological and spiritual toll of chronic isolation. The enemy operates best in the dark.
He really does.
When we keep our struggles hidden, whether that is a strain in our marriage, absolute burnout from parenting, or a mental health crisis, the isolation acts like an echo chamber.
Yeah, the lies just bounce off the walls and get louder.
Exactly. The lie that no one understands. The lie that if people saw the real you, they would be disgusted.
Shame is the mechanism that convinces us to withdraw at the exact moment we desperately need to lean in.
Yes.
We put on these heavy, exhausting masks. We project this flawless image of strength while we are completely crumbling on the inside.
But notice the mechanics of what happened in that small group the second the first man spoke his struggle out loud.
Right, the dynamic shifted instantly.
James 5:16 talks about confessing our sins to one another so we may be healed. Now, suffering a panic attack is not a sin, obviously, but the spiritual principle of bringing hidden things into the light is universal.
That makes total sense.
Deception requires darkness to function. The moment you speak the hidden struggle out loud, you flip on the lights. The illusion shatters. The isolation breaks.
Okay, so we know isolation is a trap. We know we need the testudo formation. But how do we actually lock shields in the real world?
That is the big question.
Because life is incredibly messy. And frankly, a lot of the advice around this sounds like a bumper sticker. Just join a small group.
Right.
When you are truly drowning, sitting in a circle, eating stale donuts with strangers feels completely inadequate.
Because merely sitting in a room with other people is not the same thing as interlocking shields.
Exactly. Proximity does not equal community.
Exactly. Galatians 6:2 commands believers to carry each other's burdens. There are seasons in life where your individual faith will not be enough to sustain you.
Yeah.
And someone else's faith literally has to stabilize yours.
There's an ancient story in the book of Exodus that captures this beautifully.
Oh, I love this one.
The Israelites are in a massive battle, and Moses is up on a hill. As long as he holds his staff raised in the air, his people are winning.
Right.
But Moses is human. He is aging, he is exhausted, and gravity is relentless. His arms start shaking. He literally cannot hold the staff up anymore. He is failing.
And what do the people closest to him do? Aaron and Hur don't stand 10 feet away shouting encouragement.
You can do it, Moses.
Right. They don't offer platitudes like, just pray harder, Moses, have more faith.
No.
They physically intervene in his exhaustion. They find a heavy stone and pull it over for him to sit on. Then Aaron stands on his left side, Hur stands on his right, and they physically lift his heavy arms.
They held him up.
They hold his arms up for him until the sun goes down and the battle is won.
They became his strength when he had absolutely none left. That is the definition of interlocking shields. When you are too battered to hold up your own faith, your community holds it up for you.
But this requires a profound level of vulnerability. Moses had to let them see his weakness. He had to let them see his arms drocking.
And this is where we have to inject a heavy dose of reality into the conversation.
Please do.
Trusting people to hold your arms up is terrifying, especially if you have tried it before and been dropped.
Yes.
Church hurt is a very real, very deep wound. People have stepped into groups, they have taken off the mask, they've shared their panic attacks or their marriage struggles, and their trust was completely violated.
It happens way too often.
Their pain was gossiped about, or they were met with terrible, condescending advice.
We cannot overstate how devastating that is. When you are injured in a place that is supposed to be a hospital, the instinct is to never go back to the hospital.
Exactly. Trying to find safe community after you've experienced severe relational or spiritual trauma is exactly like physical therapy after a major joint replacement.
That is a great analogy.
You've had a severe injury, the joint is stiff and it is inflamed, and then the physical therapist comes in and tells you to bend it.
And it hurts.
Moving that damaged muscle hurts worse than the original injury. Every instinct in your brain is screaming, stop, don't move it, keep it safe.
And if you listen to that instinct and you refuse to push through the pain of physical therapy, scar tissue builds up.
Right.
The joint freezes completely. You lose mobility permanently. The pain of the therapy is the only path back to function.
Wow.
Raghu's pastoral wisdom here is so crucial. He heavily validates the reality of that hurt, but he doesn't let you stay there.
He emphasizes the need for wisdom and boundaries. You don't just walk into a room of 50 people and hand over your deepest vulnerabilities. You don't need a megachurch to form a testudo.
Precisely. Emotionally safe community doesn't mean trusting everyone. It means finding a team of 2 or 3 people.
That's it. Just 2 or 3.
Just 2 or 3. People who have proven themselves to be committed to honesty, who understand how to give grace, who respect confidentiality,
Yeah.
and who are willing to sit in the dirt with you without trying to quickly fix you.
That feels infinitely more doable than trying to be best friends with an entire congregation. It's about finding that tiny circle where you don't have to wear the armor underneath the armor.
I love that phrasing.
A space where you are allowed to just be messy, tired, uncertain, and honestly, maybe even still a little suspicious of the process.
And that is where genuine spiritual resilience is forged. Because living in a fractured world guarantees that, eventually, you will face a crisis that is mathematically too large for your individual faith to handle alone.
It's inevitable.
The Roman soldiers knew that breaking formation meant certain death. We need to recapture that exact same urgency about our spiritual relationships.
Absolutely.
The people standing next to you are not a social club. They are your survival strategy against an enemy whose entire playbook relies on isolating you.
So if we pull all these threads together, the paradigm completely shifts. We were never designed to be lone soldiers, picking off flaming arrows by ourselves on a windswept hill. The shield of faith is intensely personal. You do have to make the active decision to trust God's character for yourself, but it's true, impenetrable power is only unlocked in community.
Right.
We lock shields, we hold each other's arms up.
It entirely reframes how we look at our own spiritual exhaustion.
It really does. If you are listening to this right now and you feel absolutely crushed by the weight of your life, what if your sheer exhaustion isn't proof that your faith is defective?
Oh, that's good.
What if it's just proof that you're trying to hold up a massive, heavy shield that was always designed to be supported by the people next to you? It's not that you're weak, it's that you're alone.
And let's take that one step further. Think about the people in your life right now, the people in your office, in your family, in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
If you are standing there with your shield firmly locked in place, feeling relatively strong, central, look at the people to your left and your right.
Yeah.
Who is standing next to you with their shield dropping? Who is silently failing under the weight of an invisible battle, terrified to ask for help because they think they have to be the strong one?
Wow.
Are you making it safe for them to drop the mask?
That is such a powerful challenge. Who can you be an Aaron or a her for today?
Exactly.
What if the person sitting next to you is just desperately waiting for you to drop your shield first so they have permission to drop theirs?
That is so often the case.
Yeah.
Someone just has to go first.
So here is our gentle encouragement for you this week. Take a hard look at your life and identify just one trusted relationship.
Just one.
Just one. Reach out to them. Practice taking off the mask just a little bit and ask to lock shields. Bring the hidden, heavy things into the light where they lose their power.
Beautifully said.
And if you want to explore the mechanics of this communal defense even further, we highly recommend reading Dev Raghu's Armed with Grace. It's a brilliant guide for building the kind of spiritual resilience that actually survives the real world.
It's a must-read, honestly.
It really is. Remember, you were never meant to fight the battle alone. The wall holds when we stand together.